This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
This is DG Chichester, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
You think you've been in for it before? Stay tuned, everyone. Welcome back to the Capes and Lunatics, episode 178. I am Phil, and of course, who else is here? The stash from New Jersey, the pretty boy, our eye candy. It is
Charlie, the Professor Esser.
And of course,
scientists think minutes.
Yeah. And she who lives and breathes total darkness, the queen of the armadillos from Florida. It is.
Hey y'all, it's Lil Hellfire, and I just want to let y'all know I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Full pun alert tonight, yes. All right, because we are attempting our biggest roundtable ever that we've ever. Because we have, let's see, 3 of us. 6 guests. I can do math. All right, so where should we begin? Well, of course.
Spectacular.
Why don't we start with our unofficial member coming to you all
triplet
coming to you all the way from Australia, where it's Sunday morning, Ray?
Yeah, it is. It's a nice early morning. I've got a mug of coffee, so I'm ready to go.
Look how big it is.
Coffee.
Yeah.
So yes, you
Sunday morning coming down.
You can hear him.
Apple juice.
You can hear him always on Last Sons of Krypton, a Superman podcast. To Know Hers, to Fear Her, a Spider-Woman podcast. The last Tuesday of every month on Capes and Lunatic Sidekicks, talking Scarlet Spider with me and Matt Kona. Shut up. And Ready Lilith, of course, his big one. To Into the Night. The Moon Knight podcast.
The one and only.
We were practicing for that, Ray. All right, so let's go to. I have so many choices. DJ Nick.
Go
DJ Nick, our friend from Italy. What is up, Nick?
Hey guys, all good over here. It's a nice, chilly evening over here in Milan, Italy. So I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
And you are on Happiness and Darkness, the superhero movie podcast. What is it? The Gold Standard, the Oscars podcast, and Whiskey and Cigarettes, correct?
Yes, indeed.
Good tell.
That's not even a podcast. That's just,
Oh, I'm sorry. I got into Lilith's hobbies.
Yeah,
sorry.
It ain't just a show. It is also a way of life.
That's how Lilith lives her life.
I don't think Lilith smokes. Moving right along. Keep it moving, boss.
Yes, sir. All right. So, coming to you from Alaska, the real Alaskan housewives, Dianne and Marnell from Biters, the Walking Dead podcast, and hopefully one day the Housewives podcast.
One day, but I'm here to tell you, okay, I'm Dianne. It is dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. I'm not making any promises about life from a 2-room cabin.
There is no Marnell. There is only Zool.
She sleeps above the covers, 4 feet above the covers. All right. So, hey, and you had us invite a guest and introduce us to Steve. Come on.
This is our beloved Steve from Aim for the Head, which is, I've got to say, the best Walking Dead podcast out there.
Aww. It's the only other one I listen to. I don't even listen to our own.
Oh, that's really sweet, because I agree.
There is no modesty. There is only Steve.
Thanks a lot for inviting me along for this crazy journey. This is going to be fun because this was one of my favorite movies as a kid, and getting a chance to look at it again through older eyes is going to be a lot of fun.
All right. Glad to have you, Steve. And last but certainly not least, probably the inspiration for this episode, because I know when he appeared on Capes Lunatics 175, we said we'd have to do more something together. And Mr. Jamie Burns from the UK. I know Ghostbusters means a lot to you, seeing as how you do a podcast about it. Uh-oh. You're muted.
Nope, now he's muted.
I know.
I can hear him a little.
Uh-oh.
Maybe volume.
The ghosts have gone in.
You know, apparently there was a haunted house in England associated with Gozer, so there we are.
Oh.
What
the F?
Gozer the Gozerian.
It's not me this time. That's all I can say.
So he's Gozer the Gozerian. Is Gozer where he's from? Or did he just name where he's from after himself?
Are you...
I thought they were Sumerian. Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
so what are you saying? He named himself I Gozer over here, I Gozer over there?
Everywhere he goes, that is Gozer. He is where he is, and he is all in the place he is from. He's the Beyonder. No wonder he's so incredulous.
Come back to this morning, Lilith. Tracksuit. What in the name of Tracksuit Beyonder?
Exactly. Oh, and don't at me if you guys are watching this on Facebook Live or YouTube. I know Slimer is from Ghostbusters too, but he's my favorite character in all of the whole franchise, so y'all can suck it.
Slimer was in the first. Slimer was in this movie.
He's in the first.
Yeah, he was totally in the first movie.
They even give an entire backstory in the real Ghostbusters as
that's why that's my favorite character.
Since he was the first ghost captured, once all the other ghosts went free, he kind of wanted to stay. He
had Stockholm syndrome, but it's okay. I can relate.
He's a cheap date. All you do is speed him.
Ghostbusters.
But yes, I was looking this up. Yeah, $30 million budget, and it made worldwide $296 million. So
and that's not even counting the ancillaries.
That's $1984, baby, strong dollars.
Yep.
Yeah.
When the economy was good.
Well,
better.
Depending on who you are.
Better. Yes.
Well, and you're forgetting the two most important words, and that is Sigourney Weaver.
Oh!
I can relate. I agree.
Well,
She is
who
one
was
of my
the,
heroes, honestly, in and on and off the screen.
I'm not
Who was
thinking
the,
that's the reason that Steve mentioned her.
It's just kind of like a horror, more sci-fi horror, but kind of icon. So
Yeah, but I kind of feel like she was underutilized in this.
of course she was. It was the 80s.
Yeah.
Shut up and be pretty.
This is a movie about four men. Of course,
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you know.
And
But
don't get
she
me
was
wrong.
she was a big name. She was a big name around then.
Yeah,
right?
she was
like
like the
she had Amy.
second biggest name on the poster. So
Oh,
Yeah.
But,
okay,
I
so-
feel like Winston Zedmore kind of got
well,
pushed.
if Eddie Murphy had
pushed
played
out.
the character, it would have been more obviously.
Yeah.
So-
Might have been a better film.
Did he get some good stuff?
Winston,
I didn't have to do
But
well.
you know,
He did all right.
I will say Winston Zedmore owns that role, and I was so sad, because he did the voices for the video games for a while. He went away, and then he came back for that last video game that they did in 2009.
Yeah.
So I he's that guy for that character. When Arsenio Hall did the voice in the cartoons, I was just like,
Yeah.
no.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the actor. I just feel that because they short shrifted the character, which to me, every time I watch Ghostbusters, more and more every time I watch it, I see a film that could have been much better that got bogged down by the egos of.
Yeah, but it's a product of its time as well, too. So
Yeah, but it's like, I guess to me, Murray and Aykroyd are not the two egos you want bouncing off of each other. Because
no, sir.
I think they definitely feed each other's worst influences that you don't see in many of their other separate projects. So, for example, in this, we really see Bill Murray being the typical Bill Murray character, which is patently unlikable. But when there's somebody else in it, I think they they give you a reason to like him in his unlikableness. But I think they just really fed into Peter Venkman is just going to be this note the whole time. And it really, to me, of all the things that hurt this film, Bill Murray is the main one. Bill Murray hurt this film horribly because he is just such an awful character, Peter Venkman.
Yeah, I'm going to take a little different take for it. I mean, I just, rewatching it again a couple of nights ago, I was just reminded of how funny Bill Murray is. I thought he was just fantastic. His timing, that thing that you mentioned, Dianne, about cats and dogs living together.
Right.
Correct me up, because that came out of totally nowhere. And it's, for me, I don't know, compared to like modern comedians these days, I know he has a very particular style, and it's just very unassuming. And it's so laconic, so cynical. But yeah, I mean, I agree he's an unlikable character. I mean, the things that he does, and especially to Ms. Barrett, is crazy. Like,
well, he starts out as the typical trope of a unlikable douchebag. We see him trying to sleep with one of his students.
Yes.
But he evolves. And what I love about him, what I love about his character is that most of his lines were ad-libbed. Like, there was a lot of ad-libbed lines, but almost all of his were ad-libbed in this movie.
Okay. Wow. All I'm going to say is he brought, what was it, phenobarbital or Thorazine on the Thorazine. I thought it was Thorazine, but I wasn't sure. Brought like 10 cc's of Thorazine on a date.
Is he Dr. Venkman or Dr. Cosby?
Exactly. It's like, well, again, the 80s.
Exactly.
Speaking of the 80s.
I was going to say, didn't everyone have Quaaludes in their pocket back then?
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. I was 4 when this movie came out.
I was 6. Hey, I was going to say, you think that's bad? I was 6 and Lilith wasn't even born yet, so.
So I think I watched this with 1984 eyes because other than the casual sexism of the 2 female characters are pretty minor characters, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed Bill Murray again. It makes me want to go back and watch Zombieland again.
Honestly, if you watch this movie and then you watch Zombieland back to back, you're so glad when they kill him. Charlie, try it, buddy. It'll make you feel better.
I will point out to Marnell, though, that he becomes an unlikable douchebag once again, because in Ghostbusters 2, aren't he and Sigourney Weaver broken up after they've had a kid?
No, that wasn't even Bill
Murray's
that
wasn't
kid.
his kid. Yeah, no.
No. She actually, to Sigourney Weaver's credit, she never actually does anything with Venkman. Like, I think at most, that we know of, but but it does seem it's like, nope, she wasn't into him at the start of it. She's not into him at the end of it, except for the fact that, okay, I guess I'm no longer possessed by a demon. But really, we never see any kind of connection between the two.
No.
In fact, I think Go ahead.
Sorry, Charlie. Can I just to add that point as well? Did everyone think how cringeworthy that last kiss was? I was going to ask you, do you think that was improv with Bill Murray and Sigourney? Because when they kiss at the end,
it looked a little uncomfortable. Yeah,
it was very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, Jamie's there.
Thinking, stay away from her, you bitch.
Maybe it was just on the marshmallow.
We can hear you.
Yeah,
that's great.
All right, Jamie. So, like I said, you do a Ghostbusters podcast, so I'm sure this movie means a lot to you.
Yes, I do. I was brought up on it. Yeah, you could say that in Star Wars, but Star Wars has let me down for the moment with Disney. But Ghostbusters has always been one of my favourite films. I can remember going to see it when I was just a nipper and going to the Odeon Cinema. It was all decked out with the Ghostbusters sign and all the neon lights. Oh, it was fantastic. What a time to be. Don't get that kind of thing now, though.
But
really now, we don't get, at least in the U.S.,
all right.
Possibly never again.
All right. And the segue, Nick, I want your opinion where this falls in movie history. But I mean, you could really, and again, Nick, I mean, you could tell this is 1984 movie because like everyone's smoking like every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
The good old days.
Like every scene, there's someone smoking.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. I was like, yep, this is definitely the 80s because everybody's smoking for sure. Yep.
Well, this was supposed to be a much darker movie. It was meant to be an adult movie, but kids liked it so well that they started gearing the sequels and the cartoon and everything towards kids. Mm-hmm. So,
I don't know about that cartoon. It's a little
excellent. And, oh my gosh, did you ever see, what was it, the Extreme Ghostbusters when they was Egon and the 3 teenagers? That one got dark. That is my favorite reimagining of the Ghostbusters universe. I don't know how.
And I would have liked the reboot instead of an all-women cast. I would have liked it to have been a dark Ghostbusters. I would have liked to have seen that original script.
Well, buckle up for Afterlife, baby!
Yeah! When it finally comes out.
2021, maybe.
Yes, ever. 2020, never at this point.
If you want
dark, the trailer looks
video
great.
On demand.
You gotta just barge in, Steve.
The Dark Ghostbusters is The Frighteners with Michael Fox.
Yeah. Good film. Yeah, it's a good shout out for that one. There's probably some references in that film to Ghostbusters. Just a quick reference, actually, is on Netflix at the moment. Is that Hubie's Halloween? Fantastic Ghostbusters reference in that.
Oh,
okay.
That's a big section of it.
Oh, the Adam Sandler movie, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, everybody say that the film was fantastic, but it just has a good reference.
So the film's all right, actually. I do like a good cheesy Halloween film.
I don't know.
When it kicked into the Ghostbusters theme, and I was like, oh, yeah.
If you're a 90s kid, you have to like Adam Sandler. It's just kind of one of those things. And he's still like trying to thrive off of that whole 90s kid vibe.
I'm just saying, Ernest has already been scared stupid. I don't need anyone else to... I don't need another dumb guy saves Halloween story. I don't know. I just... how do you follow a classic like Ernest Scared Stupid? That's all I'm saying.
All right, I was looking up trivia. Oh, go ahead, Nick.
But Phil, you actually were saying, to kind of put it into movie history, context. If you think that in this year, 1984, Amadeus won the Oscar for Best Picture, it was a very weird year for the Oscars as well. But yeah, Amadeus. I mean, I like Amadeus. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a good movie. I mean, I enjoy.
Amadeus still rocks you.
Oh, for sure, always. But even more, I love you, Dr. Zayas. But that said, I was 2 years old when this movie came out. It's really weird because a lot of my friends, are big fans of this franchise and what have you. I mean, at the time, my fandom, growing up, I then watched it obviously when I was a little bit older to understand it. But you know what? It was great to watch it again. I hadn't watched it for about 26 years, thereabouts. Last time I watched it about 26 years ago, thereabouts. Because, I don't know, I mean, I enjoyed it at the time, but I guess my fandom has always been mainly with superheroes and what have you. But obviously, for the 80s and stuff, kids and stuff were... Even over here in Italy, obviously, it was a big, big deal. Even more so when the animated TV show came out as well. Both based on the movies and also the previous Ghostbusters TV show, which I absolutely love. And I know that Charlie's a big fan of that one too. But yeah, it was great to watch. The thing is, some of the special effects were hard to sit through. I have to be honest.
$30 million,
We're so
baby.
spoiled. We're so spoiled now.
I mean, it reminded me of like Howard the Duck, which was roughly around the period this came out.
I love Howard the Duck. I love Howard the Duck.
And Howard the Duck
was a feat
Jamie, of practical animation.
Doc nipples. Doc nipples.
You thought bat nipples were bad.
The special effects were just a little bit cringeworthy here and there, but.
Well, I'll just say, if you want really cheesy effects, go see the actual original Ghostbusters with Tracy the Gorilla. And
agreed.
Yeah.
That puts it all into perspective.
So literally, in fairness to the special effects, I was reading some trivia today as well, Phil, and they were saying that they actually left some of the really bad effects in because they were really bad. So,
oh really? Okay.
I mean, honestly, I feel for its day, this was actually really good. I mean, as far as special effects go, like I said, this was 1984. Okay, it was a long time ago.
Well, the big special effects studio, the only was Industrial Light and Magic at the time, and somebody actually created a special effects studio just for Ghostbusters. They went on to do other things. I can't remember what the studio was named. It's no longer around now, but they didn't have special effects people. They kind of were doing this on the fly. So it even went to
Could you imagine on a 1984 computer, like an Apple II? Could you imagine?
I'm just saying, Slimer came out fantastic in this. I think the transformation of the demon dogs is brilliant, and I really think that it is. I think it does what it needs to do. I mean, it's no Ray Harryhausen, but who's Ray Harryhausen?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Do you know the design for Slimer was originally going to be, it was put to I've got his name here, that Steve Johnson.
John Belushi?
Yeah, it's John Belushi.
It was based on John Belushi, yeah.
Steve Johnson did many versions of Slimer, and he had not that long to do them. And he did one, and then they said, "Oh, can you make it like John Belushi?" And he was looking at it thinking, "How can I make that?" So he just sent them that one again, and they went, "Oh yeah, bang on." And you were like, "Okay."
Hey, Jamie, I just heard a rumor recently. Maybe you can confirm this. I heard Rick Moranis was awesome in this movie. I love Rick Moranis, but I heard he wasn't their first choice for that role.
No, he wasn't even their second choice.
I heard John Candy.
Yeah, John Candy. I heard was supposed to be.
Candy, yeah. And
it would have been so different.
It was going to be a boys' club film. Let me tell you, Hans Sketch, Eddie Murphy, John Candy.
Was that going to be the same character?
No, he was going to be Lewis. It was going to be Lewis Tully, but he wanted to play it in a German accent, and he wanted two big, massive German Alsatians, and they were like,
"Who's he? Charlie Esser?"
And he was like, "Yeah, it'd be brilliant, And they're like, "Nah."
I think, yeah. Oh no, sorry. Finish.
Right, and then so they and plus he did want a lot of money, so they sort of like got in Rick Moranis, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do whatever you want." So, because can you imagine that party scene with John Candy and two massive Alsatians, and then the terror dog comes in? They'd be just sniffing each other's ass. What's going on here? I mean, who let the dogs in?
And also,
I have to say that Rick Moranis's like awkward body language and just the way he carried himself, one of the best parts of the film.
Brilliant.
Oh yeah.
I like how he knocks himself out every time.
Every time, yes.
The Keymaster.
Right.
Yeah.
Keymaster, right? Yeah.
Also, Lilith was mentioning, if Eddie Murphy had been in this film, and he was actually busy at the time making Beverly Hills Cop, which was the second highest grossing movie that year. I mean, that year, Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom was number 1. This was number 3, which tells you how well it did.
Wow. Yeah.
I think too, just in terms of historical context, remember another massive horror franchise started this year with Nightmare on Elm Street, one of Marnell's favorites.
Yeah.
So many good films around this year.
It was the 80s.
Horror movie.
Yeah. Beautiful films.
And then you have sort of this comedy horror film with Ghostbusters to kind of compare the two,
Yeah. Very much so. There's one thing. If Ghostbusters, the original, came out now, you'd be like, should I take my little kids to this? I'm not too sure.
No, nobody would bat an eyelash, to be honest.
I mean, yeah. But, just...
I watched it with my 7-year-old today. I mean, it's...
one of the best...
Nobody tell Danielle.
Yeah, it was fine.
One of the best memories of that film is the opening to it. I have to say it's one of the best openings to a film, especially that quiet with the librarian just walking past, and they did all those effects practical, on the day, and then for her to walk around the corner and it kick in, the Ghostbusters logo, of course, and it still makes me laugh when the boys are in that cellar in the bottom of the library, and you hear Ray go, listen, and you hear this, and he goes, "Do you smell something?"
Yes!
Makes me laugh so hard every time. And funny enough, that's also referenced a bit later on in the film when Vecman walks into Diana's and he gets the piano and goes
yeah. I do love how that joke came. I do love how the Ray joke came in at the end again, where he's like, "Go ahead, get her, Ray."
Get her. That was your plan.
Yeah. Did you guys know that Saint Jerome, who the librarian mentions when they're interviewing her, is the patron saint of librarians?
Yeah.
There's a thing for everything.
But I remember turning around to my mum and saying, "Mum, what's menstruating?" She was like, "You find out."
How'd that conversation go with Luca today, Phil?
he was half paying attention. It was like,
he's got his iPad, Philip.
Seriously, my kid got up this morning, started doing math.
Yeah,
my kid's the nerd.
Very cool.
That's good.
He was talking math in the Cold War. He was talking math in the Cold War this morning.
Dude, I am so not questioning your parenting.
My kid just got up and went straight onto his VR system and started playing Roblox.
Well, he plays games too, but yeah.
Luca's probably going to design a building that starts invoking demons from parallel universes. Just saying.
He might have already done that because Lilith was up here last year. So
exactly. All the Christmas presents this boy will get as he grows up. Don't you worry.
Nice.
I am telling you, if the pandemic ever closes down, aim for the head and SMG. It's going to be just one big fan fest.
Absolutely.
Man. Can't wait for those conventions to open up. I've got all this equipment because I'm wearing my Ghostbusters suit.
Oh, look at that!
Cool, very awesome.
What's this up? There we go. And I've got my proton pack on the wall, and I've got my PKE. Look at this. You know what I mean?
Did you make your proton pack or did you buy it?
I'd like to say it's hand built. It is hand built. It's on my wall. It's a big, massive foam. A real Ghostbusters pack. If I could take it up, but I don't know where to put it on the floor.
That's okay, but that's so cool.
But it's massive. It really is a big one. But it's made entirely of foam, which is fantastic. I know a guy who knows a guy, and he builds them out of foam, and it's like, it's nice, especially when you got them on your back for so long. You know what I mean? It's good. I like it.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Leave that.
Open up.
Yeah, leave that unlicensed particle accelerator on the wall.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though, it's warm. It's warm in here. I'll tell you that.
But this movie cause anybody to love firehouses? I've always wanted to live in a decommissioned firehouse
that was a great
because of this movie.
Well, we found out Lilith's next project.
Yeah,
actually, this and G.I. Joe, because of course their fireman character did also live in a firehouse. I've always wanted to live in a firehouse. There actually was a firehouse in Newark for sale a few years ago that I saw, but it was only a one-story firehouse. So,
what's the point if you can't have the
exactly?
I'm not gonna say. Phil was waiting for it.
Everyone, be quiet. I want to clean audio of Lil saying, "I want the pool."
But I mean,
I was not going to make any jokes about sliding down poles, and there you go.
But again, maybe this is my old manishness, but it just seems like the entire. Granted, yes, Ray's the one bringing the money in, so he gets to make all the decisions. But it's like they're all clearly bad decisions.
Everyone has 3 mortgages on their house.
Was it a meta commentary on Wall Street? Who knows?
I mean, it's just the idea that they say, okay, this building ought to be condemned. Yeah. It's completely useless, and Ray's like, it has a pole. And then it's like,
how fire making decisions?
And then it's like, it needs new shocks, new struts.
Oh, the car, yeah.
Everything. But I get the feeling it's like there's these editing room scenes where he says, "Well, gee, I guess I'll just have to take my money back and go do something else." Then, basically he makes them do this, and
Okay, but I want to know who inherits a home and then has 3 mortgages on it.
Well, the idea
our president, maybe.
I'm just going to point out
the parents all paid off.
Do you know how when Ray's coming out and he says, "Oh, that house, my family left me that house. Back then, I always pictured that was a farmhouse. Yeah. Then when the teaser trailer came out for Afterlife, with the slow looking into the barn, my brain automatically thought that's Ray at his family at his farmhouse.
Oh, that's awesome!
Right, and then but then of course when the next trailer came out, they've sort of pushed it that it's Egon. Now, my question is, if you had a choice of who lived in a farm, would it be Egon or would it be Ray?
I reckon Ray. You're right.
Exactly, Ray. Egon wouldn't live in a farm; he'd be living somewhere else. He'd probably living in Ray's basement, but
Egon grew up on a farm collecting spores, molds, and funguses.
The argument that Egon may have been born on a farm. Oh. And if I recall from the real Ghostbusters, Ray's people are from a farming community.
Yeah, they've got a farmhouse. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Egon's people. No, Egon's people, because they go to the town that Egon's great uncle founded. It's a very rural place. But anyway, the idea is I can see, much like Sheldon Cooper, the idea of someone who isn't really raised in a rural environment, but was raised in Texas. And for anyone in America, if you're in Texas, that's rural.
Are we going to tell him, Marnell, or are you?
He's the ultimate, literally the last frontier. So
Dianne barely has indoor plumbing.
Yes,
barely.
I was actually I thought you were gonna defend Alaska. I was gonna say, I basically assumed that bears walk down the street there.
Pretty much. There was one parked outside Marnell's window one night when we were podcasting, kid. You not?
A legend.
They know what about my alligators.
Although, to be fair, we have a lot of bears in Jersey. So that's the weird thing for me in wildlife is in New Jersey, we get tons of wildlife because New Jersey wildlife don't care if you live in a city. They will walk right in.
Their home first of all.
Exactly.
Hey, get out of here.
Exactly. Jersey bears we're from Jersey. It's you can build your house here. That's fine. We're going to go eat your garbage. We don't care.
We just have to worry about cats.
Jersey bears are not what I was originally thinking Charlie was talking about.
They got those too. They got plenty of those too, don't you?
Damn it, woman, you beat me to it.
Newark is a cosmopolitan society, and it's a good thing.
Hey, guys, can we speaking of wildlife as well, can we talk about talk about the Environmental Protection Agency and Peck?
Yes, Walter Peck.
What your thoughts are on him? He's a great actor. He always plays the a-hole, and he's very good at playing.
That's the trivia I wanted to bring up.
He's not. That's the thing about it.
He didn't do his job, man.
But he had no proof. He was like, these people, they're conning people. He had no proof they were conning people.
And he gets a warrant.
That actor apparently got mercilessly abused.
Oh yeah, that's the trivia I wanted to bring up.
Just go down and say, "Hey, you've got no dick."
Oh yeah, it says in the trivia. It says one day he was walking down the street in New York and there was a bunch of school buses and he just heard scores of kids yelling, "Hey, dickless!"
Yes, he was the Jar Jar Binks of his generation, which is sad,
he was.
Actually.
Yeah, but he was he got that warrant to search the fire, their place, their headquarters, and there's no way that you can get any form of paperwork to force them to shut down that storage facility that they had. So we were watching. I was watching it with my partner Ethan. We're going, okay, he can actually look at it because he wanted to see it, but there's no way that he could get the police to force them to shut it down, and they inevitably did. So I don't know
for the EPA in America. Come on, be serious.
Ray doesn't know about New York cops in the 80s.
Yeah. For what it's worth, Peck's the guy who actually does it, and in that extent, Peck is making a bad mistake. But it is a mistake that is sort of you are polluting. I mean, because that's the thing. As they say, it's an unlicensed nuclear accelerator. You're not supposed to have those on your back.
Yeah, that's
right now. Immediately, there's immediately a question of what kind of waste is being produced by this. I don't think that Ghostbusters figured out cold fusion and said, I guess we could use that cold fusion for another purpose, couldn't we?
But that's the beauty of it, isn't it? Because back then, you know, when you watch the film, you didn't think of that kind of thing. You just thought, oh yeah, you just took it. If that film was being made now, there would be a backstory to that, saying, oh yes, cult fusion goes here and here, and you know, just so somebody goes, oh right, yeah, that's where they dump it. Now, back then, you didn't need explanation. All you knew that in between that very thin wall was a massive containment unit with like 1,000 ghosts. Nice.
Yeah. I'm just going to say they could have done better because Back to the Future gives us a flux capacitor that needs plutonium to operate. And they're very explicit. Yes, this is highly dangerous and radioactive, and we know what we're doing.
But Doc had a death wish as well, so, you know.
Yeah, well, you know.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, everyone knows that containment unit actually back straight onto the drain, so it was just pumping it straight into the
I mean, that's
drain.
what.
And that's how you get the sequel.
Well, that's why. That's why I like this movie. It's like you didn't get a lot of back. You didn't have to waste time on backstory. It's like, oh yeah, they got some nuclear reactors on their back. I do like when they're in the elevator and Ray's like, yeah, switch me on, and Egon switches them on and just starts backing away from them.
Hilarious. They both back away.
Yeah. By the way, don't cross the streams. I love that. After they do it, it's like, oh yeah, this one warning thing.
Yeah. And how many guys in pubs completely drunk are in the tunnel going, hey, don't cross the stream!
That became a thing for sure.
I was going to say, yeah, that hit the culture, yes.
Well, I always assumed that was the gag about crossing the streams.
Yeah.
And that it was its own little bit of homophobia, too, because it is the 80s.
I totally missed that.
Yes.
They're phallic. They're phallic
I imagine
equipment.
you might.
Yeah.
The style of the movie, though, like that 1959 Cadillac that they used for the Ectomobile. Like, are you serious? Also, I mean, it was nominated for two Academy Awards, one for the best song and one for visual effects. So, I mean, it didn't win. I think he was robbed though, because Stevie Wonder that won that year. I don't know. I'm saying it made number one on the Billboards.
It did make number one. Do you know? Funny enough, if you go on YouTube and put in Casey Kasem, who did the voice of Shaggy, by the way, and he put Casey Kasem Billboard Ghostbusters, and it does his rundown to the Ghostbusters theme, and I just love how he goes into his voice. Talking about Ghostbusters, I love it, especially because it's in the film as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is, yeah. And don't forget too that Ray Parker did get sued by Huey Lewis.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was the 80s. I was shocked by that little fact. I'm like, they were willy-nilly with the music licenses in the 80s.
Well,
and I totally can't see the resemblance.
I don't either.
It's
the two songs.
It's like Vanilla Ice and, you know, it's that little ting. It's the little ting. Listen to it.
No, but you know what? First off, acting like riffing. First off, riffs in jazz are an established thing. That someone wrote those notes. We're going to replay those notes here. You know, you're going to hear it. You're going to hear the cue. You're going to know where we're going, and then that's going to lead into what we're going to do. And music has historically been this very collaborative thing where, yes, people would borrow and outright steal from everyone, and no one got mad about it.
Huey Lewis is getting big badass karma happening right now. That's all I can say.
Well, you know, hey, when was the last time the News had a new album?
Well, no, he's got horrible Meniere's disease and has lost most of his hearing.
I don't want
badass
actual
karma.
bad things. I just want him to have bad career. As much as I love Huey Lewis, and let me say, I am the biggest fan of Huey Lewis and the News. I love their music. I just feel like, dude, you made your money. Don't go harshing other people's gigs because their song sounds too similar to yours, you know?
I'm just waiting for the comeback tour, Huey Lewis and the Fake News.
Well, they settled out to court, didn't they? Oh, sorry, Steve, go on.
Yeah, you know, the story is that Columbia Pictures went to Huey Lewis first and said, we want you to make the music for this. And he said no. And so then when they put together a scratch copy to send to Ray Parker Jr., because they hired him, they had laid in I Want a New Drug into the movie as a temporary track. So when Ray Parker Jr. is watching it and they're saying, I want a song kind of like this, and then he writes
like, you got it, buddy.
Like that.
You got it. Exactly the same.
And Huey Lewis, when he saw the movie, is like, wow, that song sounds familiar. And I do got to take exception because it is the same song.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Well,
they settled out of court as well.
Yeah,
they settled out of court.
You know, I understand the whole, hey, it's a collective, but at the same time, you know, would you give up money that
if it's blatant,
for something you
a blatant ripoff?
I guess that's the thing. I don't care about I don't care that much about money, and that's weird. I'm weird like that. I don't care about money. I mean, I like it. I would like to have more of it, certainly. But if I had enough of it, I don't think I'm going to be like, it's like the guy who did Calvin and Hobbes. You know, he's not going out there suing everyone who puts a peeing Calvin in their truck because he's like, whatever. You know,
you don't think that he has a licensing deal on that? You don't think that he
no, he doesn't
signed a deal and got paid for that somewhere? I mean,
according to every website I've ever read on this subject, no, he gets paid nothing, and he doesn't sue over it. It's like, I made my cartoons. Probably, and I don't even think he cares if he publishes cartoons at this point. Because he publishes his cartoons, and he makes his money off of the publishing of his cartoons, because there's enough people who want to buy a Calvin and Hobbes book, that if people are, like, posting Calvin and Hobbes memes, it's like, what do I care?
It's free advertisement.
Yeah. Exactly.
So what is going on that we keep coming back to pee?
It's a very masculine movie, and guys are just, you guys are obsessed with the fact that you can stand up and pee. Maybe that's
Hey, Steve, can I just ask? That's a really badass stein you got there. I hope there's meat in that. That's cool. I love it. Yeah, I thought you were drinking from a vase.
big talk from the man who eats kangaroo.
Tell me you're drinking a Moscow Mule.
Yes, it is.
Very good.
There you go.
This brought to you by Kinky Pink.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
I like the green a lot better, though.
Yeah, everyone is drinking, I must admit.
Yeah, I had my coffee.
I was going to say Ray's got coffee.
Well, it's Sunday. It's Sunday morning. It's Sunday morning in Australia.
I see it.
No, it's fine. He may be coffee. He may have things to do today.
He has some. Is that Irish coffee?
Nonsense.
I don't know if they have Sundays in Australia.
No.
Saturday straight to Monday. Is that what happens?
No day
I'm
of
gonna
rest.
say this.
I don't know.
Working in a lot of companies that have some global stuff. Yeah, not every country does the same thing the U.S. does. So, I mean,
they have 6 days a week
I'm
over
pretty
there.
sure they have a Sunday.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't mean people. Is there someone at Dunkin' Donuts? Do you have Dunkin' Donuts in Australia? Okay, never mind.
We've got Krispy Kremes.
We've got Krispy Kreme here as well now. So,
wow, that's just weird. That Krispy Kreme is predating Dunkin' Donuts, but
hey, can I just
goodness.
Can I just say that at the moment, Walter Peck is in charge of the economy at the moment because he just wants to shut it all down.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up, too. It's a very 80s movie in its themes. Small business and no unregulated business, damn it. That's what this is all about. EPA bad, small business good. Can you tell that Reagan's president in this?
Yes.
It's a very 2020 movie.
We never left the 80s.
Cycles.
The difference is that there would be people on Walter Peck's side in 2020. There would be an entire meme culture around who are these people with unlicensed nuclear proton accelerators on their backs,
Well, I remember. I mean, when this movie came out, I was 6 years old. I was like, "What is this evil EPA organization? Why are they allowed to run around?"
I blame this movie for people who don't have respect for EPA. I blame this movie.
What I will say
you asked that question, and I didn't know what menstruating was. So it's different cultures there.
What I am going to say is,
I hope you found out, Jamie.
What is central to this film on all levels is a heavy denialism. So, as an example, we have at the start of this, we have Vinkman being a very bad scientist, as I've said. He's screwing up his own data points because he's shocking the guy when he gets it right and he's not supposed to, just so he can do what he wants to do. But then with Peck, clearly ghosts exist. At this point, clearly there is an exponential level of spiritual sightings. Just because Peck hasn't observed it yet, He must have heard people talking about it. Now, he may want to write it off to mass hysteria, but a good scientist would say, okay, but a good scientist should say, what is this data that we are receiving? What are we looking at? And
but he's not a scientist. He's an administrator, basically.
Well, yeah, and that is
middle management's the worst.
That is the argument that it's actually
okay. And I maintain that you don't actually know what the experiment was that Venkman was attempting in the beginning.
Yeah, it was to pull the bird.
It could have, it could have been guised as the are there psychics, but it could have been a whole parapsychology, sexual exploitation.
Speak back demonstration.
It was clearly how do I get laid? That was his experiment, but that's not a
competition.
That's not what's in. That's not in his grant proposal. That's what I'm saying.
Well, remember the kid gets angry and says, "You're pissing me off," and then his response is, "Then maybe my theory is right." So maybe that was the experiment, just to see how many shocks it would take to get
angry.
Yeah, except that's not a parapsychological experiment. That's a psychological experiment. That's a different department.
He had a doctorate in psychology, he said. So.
Do you want to hear a bit of trivia on that scene?
Yeah.
Right, the girl that plays I did know her name, I can't remember. But when she went in to film that scene, the clothes that she's wearing is the clothes that she got from her, what she brought in herself. She was wearing when she came in, and she says, "Am I got a costume?" They went, "Oh no, you look fine." And she was like, "Oh man," wow. Yeah, and she put like a scruffs on as well. So that's her own clothes. Yeah,
that's how you come in. That's how you come in at $30 million budget.
Well,
Steve, I totally thought it was Mary Catherine Stewart. I really did.
Really?
I really did.
Had the hair. She had the hair. Yeah.
I kept thinking Christy Swanson.
Yeah.
She has a bit of Christy Swanson. Yeah.
But you see these people who play bit parts then go on to make loads and loads of cash just by signing the same photograph for the rest of their lives. Anyone from Star Wars? Where were you? What? And you're still signing? 40 quid? Yeah.
Well, and some of us will get in line and pay for that. So here we are.
Yeah. First, I'm saying loads and loads of cash. I think they might disagree, especially when you consider the cost of going to cons and and of course these people right now are without a line of income, so it's kind of sad. But just to bring us all down.
Well, they're doing online cons too, and you actually get a more honestly the video conferencing 1-on-1, like instead of like just having to be like in the line with somebody, I think is like kind of better for everybody. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Miss,
you can screen recording, it's a thing.
Miss, I don't want to leave my house.
Like 5 hours, and the guy gets up and walks off. She's about to get there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, they have to eat, they have to pee, they have other applications.
And that's what I mean. For this way, they can actually like schedule it. And
it
doesn't even have to be the day of the con. Actually, is what I found out. So if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for them. You can reschedule it. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Nick, would you agree? Oh, sorry. I'm going to ask Nick a question. Would you agree that this movie is influential in a way that it kind of is the kind of cause for like special effects driven comedy? Would you say that? Would you give it credit for that?
You know what, Lilith? I would agree with you on that, because I think, even though obviously, comedies don't win Oscars and sci-fi doesn't win Oscars for the most part, I would say it definitely was very influential, at least when it came to special effects for sure. Because then when you go and look at what came after that, I think it definitely did have the impetus for what we can do with, both practical special effects and, just, computer CGI stuff. So I definitely would agree with you on that one for sure. I mean, I think this movie does, I think it was groundbreaking for quite a few things. And especially I think the effects. I mean, granted, we, as you were saying, we are very spoilt today, and you go and look back at it and you're like, can I still buy into this? You kind of can't, but I think you can see that it was, they were blazing a trail of sorts for sure. So I will agree with that for sure.
It's kind of like E.T. in that way, because woof, please don't rewatch.
And E.T. was actually nominated for an Oscar for Best Picture.
Well, it's Spielberg, Yeah.
It's also a good film.
I mean, we can agree to disagree on that one, Charlie.
Oh, nice.
Not a Reese's Pieces.
But as long even though he's Jewish just like me, so I'd be all about Spielberg. But even Ivan Reitman is also Jewish, but that's another story. But like I said, it is Ivan Reitman at the end of the day, and I don't know how much cred the man actually had as well. So you also do have to consider that too, I think.
Well, he scrounged up most of the money, so we'll give him that.
Exactly.
He really,
for sure.
really on his hands and knees. I mean, and so he got to put a lot of input into the script as well, as you do when you get all the money for the movie. And I think that might also be a meta commentary that seeped into the movie as well.
Exactly. That's why Ray gets the firehouse.
Coming back to Charlie's point.
Yes, exactly.
So
it's like, it's my money. I'm going to say how we're going to do it. So,
and it turned out to be a Halloween costume, because this came out in June of '84, if I remember right, right at the beginning. And by Halloween, it was like one of the top 3 costumes. So definitely can see how they were like, yes, let's make it more child friendly.
Yeah, well, that worked out well. That was a perfect timing. That's the serendipity of capitalism.
But in the sequel, Bobby Brown actually says to is it Ray? He says, "Oh, have you got one of those spare proton packs? My kid really loves them." He goes, "The proton packs are not a toy."
But also, there's a reason if this film was the top 3 biggest grossing film of the time when it came out. So I mean, you have to also give it that.
It definitely hit something in the zeitgeist for sure.
Well, plus you had big names too.
Exactly. I mean, if in front of
it was one of the bigger movies.
Beverly Hills. Yeah, because in front of you've got Beverly Hills Cop, so you have Eddie Murphy when he was in his prime, and you have Indiana Jones, which is one of the biggest franchises at the time as well. So this movie definitely did something special for it to only be behind those 2 movies.
This opened up a huge door to tie-ins with McDonald's and Barbie and all the other toys and games and music and everything. So this is the one that I really remember being one of the first movies where you wanted the toy in the Happy Meal because it was like Slimer or a proton pack. I just remember plushies and
Ecto Cooler.
Yes.
So cool.
You can still find them. I don't know if I would drink them, but they still sell them.
and once
they go for a pretty penny as well.
And once the cartoon came out, they just started pumping out those toys, man.
Yep.
Fun fact, Ecto Cooler is just Tangerine High C. Yes, Tangerine High C was a green High C that they put out years before, and as soon as Ecto Cooler came out, because it was green, I said, "Oh, that's Tangerine High C."
Why would Tangerine be green? I don't know.
Because they couldn't make it orange because oranges were already orange. They already had an orange one, so they made it green.
Is that why raspberries are blue in candy?
Pretty much, yes. This is literally how it works. So Tangerine was the second one, but Ecto Cooler is Tangerine High C, and that is actually what is bug juice, for those who don't know, because that's why it was called bug juice. Because for whatever reason, the Boy Scouts could get bulk Tangerine High C and fed it to children.
Nobody wanted it.
Exactly, because it was green. But as a result, all these kids were getting this little green drink called bug juice that was Tangerine High C. And then eventually this movie came out, and actually,
they're like, no, Boy Scouts, we're cutting into your stash.
Yeah, technically, the cartoon came out, and someone smart at High C said, "Hey, you know that green stuff we can't move? What if we called it Ecto Cooler?" And history was made.
Yeah. In fact, there's all like food products coming out for Ghostbusters Afterlife because it has to go on the shelves even though the film's not out yet. And I bought some, and it's It's awful. Really cheap. It's awful. And you always notice that all these cheap products get licenses. It's like all your advent calendars and stuff. Like cheap chocolate. Like,
well, that's
I buy it for the box, but.
Well, that's like any food tied to like a movie or something like that. It's never any good.
Unless it's like Marvel or DC where they get like macaroni and cheese or Kellogg's or something like that.
Yeah, Kellogg's stuff. Yeah. If I remember rightly, there was a Ghostbusters Kellogg's one, which was pretty good. It had the No Ghost logo on the front, if I remember rightly.
Cereal. It was very good.
Yeah. We do, in the UK, we don't get the cereals that the States and
because we're chock full of corn syrup, so we're pretty much illegal everywhere. No, it's a true story.
America
corn syrup makes it illegal, basically.
Did any of you also take note of all the product placement?
Of course. With a $30 million budget, where do you think it came from?
The 80s, of course.
A big product supplier in this.
I kind of want to know how much Stay Puft paid for all that.
Well, so they made up Stay Puft for the movie.
They did.
The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man they created so they could have the big guy. But if you notice, when she comes into her kitchen and takes out her groceries, there is a bag of Stay Puft marshmallows right there. So.
Which is weird, because why is this woman buying marshmallows?
I know. I don't understand either. But
don't marshmallows shame her, Charlie Esser.
Marshmallows are only good for Rice Krispie treats.
I was going to say, is she on her period? Like,
and back to menstruation.
Is she menstruating? Which is a question he didn't ask her. Which, again, bad science.
All right.
Science. You have to ask the same question every time.
All right. A lot of bodily fluid talk this time, Lil, if you know where I'm going with this.
I was just amazed that when she opened her fridge and had that little Temple of Zool in there, I was like, so the light is always on the fridge. You know what I mean?
I'm kind of feeling like I need to clean my fridge today.
Well, if it's talking to you, you better clean it.
Did you guys appreciate the very, very early appearance of Reginald Bell Johnson, who, of course, would show up 2 years later as Al in Die Hard?
He's
the cop that comes and says, "Hey, Ghostbusters, the mayor wants."
Winslow. It's the same guy. Yeah. It's the same cop, isn't it? I always thought that it's the link between Ghostbusters and Die Hard and Die Hard 2.
The problem is Die Hard's in Los Angeles, so he would have had to move across the country for it to be the same.
He was trying to get away from the ghost.
He does eventually move to Chicago, so it all makes sense.
Oh my lord, we have He's the link between Ghostbusters and Urkel. Okay.
What I want to know is, what is he doing that's getting him transferred from New York to L.A.
He
to
saw
Chicago?
too much. He's actually a good cop who saw too much. That's my opinion.
There was an apparent blast in New York, so he moved.
This entire universe centers around him because the outside of the firehouse was in New York, but the inside was filmed in Los Angeles. So there's your Los Angeles tie-in. Yeah, and it was supposed to take place in Chicago.
Right.
Oh. The entire universe surrounds this guy.
Yeah.
And all his
and also and also when Winston Zedmore left the Ghostbusters, he became a cop and then ended up working with the Crow.
Yes. The Crow, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And still managed to get himself a funeral business.
Crow's a great movie. The book is better, but you should watch both.
Or read one.
You read by watching the words on the page, Phil. I don't know how you read, but I do it with my eyes.
I just turn the closed caption on. It's the same thing.
Want to get your kids to read more? Life pro tip.
Funny enough, do you know the interior of the ghost house from that one in Chicago? That was also filmed for location for The Mask, and there's another film. I can't remember what it is, but yeah, the interior in The Mask, that was the ghost house as well. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, which mask? The Cher mask?
The best one. The only one.
Son of the Mask with Mr. Cummings.
Jim Carrey?
No, Alan Cummings is Loki.
No!
That's the best one!
No, it's not! If you bought that, chuck it out the window right now. No, it's not good.
First off, the first one has no conflict of Asgardian gods, and it's the Mask of Loki. How is the Mask of Loki not going to have conflict with Asgardian gods? It's just, I'm that kind of freak.
Ghostbusters proved we don't need backstory to enjoy a movie.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
One of the things that I do really like about this movie, and again, 1984, so, but Sigourney Weaver's character, yeah, she does very underused, but I think she's a very independent and strong female character. Yep. And I love that she is on to Venkman like that. As soon as he's in the apartment, she knows. She's like, you're like the weirdest scientist I've ever met. It's like, yes, obviously, this is a very smart lady, and she doesn't need help, although she does in this case. But overall, she doesn't need to be taken care of or rescued. And I really like that because that's, again, 1980s, few and far between.
Yeah. Yes. And she can predict the future as well, because she says to him, "You more look like a game show host." Was he in the next a game show host?
That's right.
Yeah.
Even for all that,
car salesman.
Even for all that she spends most of the movie in a slinky dress, she does have a career and she has her own apartment. So there we are.
It's a penthouse apartment.
It's a good
apartment. In New York City, even in the 80s, that was impressive.
Here's a bit of trivia for you as well. Do you know that scene where she walks out and Venkman is like hanging around near the fountain? Yeah. And he gives her the information. If you go there now, dressed in a costume, into that bit, you get arrested because the people who own that building do not want cosplayers to do that walk around it. So anybody, so when cosplayers go up, they will, or tour guides, they go to near to the edge where the sidewalk is, and then they say to like me, if I was there, well, you can go if you want, but we're not because we'll get arrested. True story.
That's rude.
Oh. No, it's not. It's like the people who throw that pizza on the house of the Breaking Bad house. Don't be that person.
No, don't do that. That's just mean. But you guys want a really cool fan theory? That is okay, and this may come up in that afterlife because if they're going to do callbacks, this would be the most brilliant thing they could do. Sigourney Weaver has a freaking she's an art restorer. Okay, she has a penthouse apartment in New York City.
In part 2.
Yeah. Well, I assume she's still an art. It's not like that. She's like, you show up one day and say, "Hey, can I be an art restorer?" He said, "Sure, go ahead."
I thought she was a cellist.
Yeah, she plays the.
She's a musician. Yeah. Maybe she's got a hobby.
She's got her hands. What can I say?
In Ghostbusters 2, isn't she an art restorer?
No, it's
changed
the guy
jobs.
that she's kind of seeing.
The guy she's seeing is the art restorer. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't watch Ghostbusters 2. I only watched Ghostbusters 1. But whatever. But honestly, if you're a cellist, again, that's not a high-paying gig. That's a rent-controlled apartment, which means she got that from her grandmother or her grandfather or someone who was in the original cult of Zool, which means that's why she is the gatekeeper. Because she bears that. You watch. I bet you when you get to this Ghostbusters Afterlife, that's going to come up. That she had that rent controlled apartment, that gorgeous, big enough for a piano. Yeah. Who has an apartment big enough for a piano?
It's a penthouse.
Exactly, but that's the thing in New York City. That tells you that character must have an ancient lineage to this building, going back to its architect and its magical qualities.
Ooh, we have a guess.
Here's another one for you. Rabbi, the guys just went, "God, she's hot in number 87. Let's use her."
I'm just talking about the character in the story. It's But no, I've been watching a lot of. I've been watching Lovecraft Country, so that whole secret society stuff, whole secret society stuff, and the lineage of people. No matter how you got to be that lineage, it's kind of a central theme.
Park Avenue, a very short-lived show.
Oh, I thought
justice for Terry, okay? Stepdad, yeah.
Oh, I thought
justice for him.
I thought that's where you and Lilith were going to be living in 5 years.
I mean, if I can afford it, because it's like actually kind of it's based on a real building.
It is.
No, it is a real building. It is a real building owned by Jared Kushner.
Boss. Yeah.
Yes, and honestly, again,
ancient lineage is to evil.
Yes,
it's like I don't know. I'm a big thing. It's like I'm a fan of revelationist literature as a genre. And I've watched this stuff that people say, this person's the Antichrist, this person's the Antichrist for centuries and, or decades for myself. But it's just this idea. And then it's like, here you go, 666 Park Avenue and this and that and the other. And everyone's like, I don't see it. I don't know.
All right. Hold on a second. All right. Ray messaged me.
Not to get political, but.
Ray, you said you got to go.
Yeah,
so hit us with some plugs. Yeah, hit us with some plugs before you gotta go.
It was great to meet you.
You too as well. And I just want to say a huge thank you, Phil, for inviting me over. It's a really cool film. I'm glad I rewatched it. I might go rewatch Ghostbusters 2 now as well. It's a lot of fun. And Jamie, far out. If you're all into Ghostbusters, I've got to hit up your shows as well. So that's really cool. All of your shows, right?
Yeah.
Cool. But anyone can catch me just on Twitter. I'm just going to give my @RayRayPod, REY pod. Just contact me there, and you got links to the other shows there. As Phil, I don't want to spend half an hour saying them. So, Moon Knight, Superman, Spider Woman, Scarlet Spider. But really good to chat with you guys. It's so much fun. But sorry, I've just got to head out. Enjoy the rest of the chat.
All right. Take care, Ray.
Bye, Ray.
That's right. Okay, I don't know which one of us said that this was like the Brady Bunch, but all of us waving was exactly like the Brady Bunch. I need a screen cap of that.
I was thinking that too, Cindy.
And then there were 8.
Hey, I'm Jan, okay?
Actually, now you're out.
All right, Steve.
Marsha.
I was going to say, Steve. Steve, give me a Dianne.
I'm the oldest one in this Zoom call, aren't I?
I doubt
You're
it.
Alice.
And as far as you know.
I was born in 1974, so who can beat 74?
1970.
What, 77?
No.
Charlie, you're not the oldest one now.
Oh, hey, it's good to be.
Charlie, you're not the oldest one for once. Hey.
I just turned 50 in September, so.
You and me, man. I'm right behind you.
Okay, there we go.
Right behind you.
You old people dragging down this show. Why can't you let us young people have our stuff?
Meanwhile, Lilith and Marnell are jumping rope over there.
Whatever.
Yes, I've still got my hair.
I have the hair. I just remove it on purpose.
Marnell,
I like that. I like that crazy scientist look.
It sets off the
you're a millennial, aren't you?
Stash, right?
Hell yeah, I'm proud. You continue being the forgotten generation, you Gen Xers. You damn latchkey kids. You get apathy.
I feel called out.
Yep. A generation of nothing.
Anywho.
Enough of your sunshine and rainbows, Marnell.
We brought you Nirvana.
My son, he keeps saying to me, he goes, "Oh, you were born at the right time." And I was like, "What, in the 70s? I had flares. It's not the right time." He goes, "No, you had the films of the 80s." I was like, yeah, well, I can remember them. Yeah.
Hey, we're all...
Yeah, they're all on my DVD unit, yeah.
Hey, we're all...
Bell-bottoms and serial killers.
Yeah.
Living the dream, honestly.
We're all old. My 7-year-old's like, man, anyone born in a year that's sort of with 19 is old.
I felt personally attacked in secondhand embarrassment for Phil when he told me that. I was like, ooh, ouch, that hurts.
Oh, man. It's a bit weird, when your boss turns around and he says, "Oh, yeah, I was born in the year 2000. I was like, God.
I will say this for Gen X. We were raised with the idea that we would live through Armageddon and Apocalypse. And
here we are.
Here we are, yeah.
Promises kept.
I knew this. It's like in the 80s. Yep, I Totally understood. Yep.
So,
we
James,
will
society
other cars too.
just tell your boss, have fun with your retirement.
You don't want to tell your boss that because they're, you don't want your boss because then you're not going to have your retirement. So it's.
I'm vested.
Yeah.
I'm vested.
No,
She's a state employee. She ain't going.
I've already come to the bare fact that I'll probably die working. I ain't gonna have retirement as long as I've got all my film and all my geek stuff. I'm happy. I'm fine.
Amen.
Yeah.
You don't know that thing could. You could have geek stuff that is your retirement. That's the thing.
Yeah. And I know where it's
that was
hidden.
my plan.
I was going to say, I love how the youngest two on this podcast probably have the oldest looking livers.
Hey, I get plenty of glutathione, water, and exercise. It's actually pretty good. It's in pretty good shape. Wine is good for you.
Look at Marnell holding up her IV of wine.
I wasn't sure if I wanted red or white, so...
Why not both?
Lilith, wine is good for you, but not like a gallon a day.
Nonsense. That's just propaganda the government wants you to believe.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is low sodium mineral water.
Exactly.
Yeah, that red. Yeah.
Okay.
I've always been conflicted about the ending of the movie, though. It feels kind of lazy. Especially because it kind of repeats itself in the second one.
It seems like they wrap it up quick. I did get that feeling, yeah.
Well, the thing is, here's the problem.
Real quick.
If God is showing up and you have to stop
Deus
God,
Ex Machina.
If Deus Ex F you up shows up, now we need a Deus Ex Machina to remove Deus Ex F you up. So it's like, well, it's not like unless you're going to establish that there's a riddle contest.
Yes, but is Zool a god because she just asked, "Are you a god?"
That was Gozer.
But Zool is
Gozer. Yes.
Yeah, it was Gozer.
Yeah.
I would have liked the originally cast Gozer.
Who was?
Pee Wee Herman.
Oh, right. I read that
today. They should have gone with that.
You mean
he's
Paul
actually
Rubens?
a really amazing actor, honestly.
First off, I would hope that Paul Rubens, unless you're saying that instead of Stay Puft, they're going to have Pee Wee Herman.
It was Paul Rubens. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
But that was like that. That was like the high point of Pee Wee Herman's. He was probably busy.
Was this before his incident in the?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And first off, he did that for the same reason that.
Oh Lord, here we go, Lil.
What's your name? Lisa Bonet did Angel Heart. It's
to
like,
get
you
out
know
of
what?
the contract.
Exactly. Let me get out. Let me do this.
And with Lisa Bonet, at least she had good concern.
She wanted to get away from Cosby is what she wanted to do.
Oh, sure.
Well, yeah.
But yeah.
Hey, there's no implication of anything of that untoward.
And he was very overbearing with the actors on that show about what they could and couldn't do outside of that show. That's what I'm talking about.
So you're saying it was all planned by Paul Rubens to get out of a contract or something?
No, that's
a weird way to get out of a contract.
I was about to say you got to hand. I was going to say you got to hand it to him.
It's been implied that basically he
well,
the
different
Paul
strokes
Rubens
for
is he
different boats.
couldn't do anything else aside from Pee Wee Herman because and it was the thing he had already made his money from Pee Wee Herman, and no one wanted him to do anything else.
All right, so pee, menstruation, masturbation joke. All right.
We hit the trifecta.
All right, everyone, hush down. I got to hit the warning.
Nobody tell Rob.
We're using Marnell language. No one tell Rob.
Isn't it crazy that they cast Julia Roberts for the part of Dana Barrett? I mean, I'm glad.
Oh, really?
I couldn't see her in that part. Yeah.
No.
That's because she didn't get on the table and act like a dog in front of the director, where Sigourney Weaver did.
Yeah. Are you serious? Is that for real?
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver got on the table and barked like a dog because she says, "I think I can do this." Because what's his name? Bloody hell, Ramis? Yeah, right. He said Raymond. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, that's him. I should know, really, shouldn't I? Right. He wasn't going to go with Sigourney Weaver because he's only seen her in like Alien and other films.
Because she was a strong female.
Yeah, and he thought, can she play, comedy? And then she came in and she barked like a dog, and she got on the table and acted like a dog, and he went, "Yeah, we'll have her."
I retract my comment about casual sexism.
Yeah. There's no such thing as casual sexism, by the way. My personal opinion.
I mean,
here's the question: did they make Rick Moranis bark like a dog? If he barked like a dog, they said no.
He volunteered to do that.
No, he just had to do their taxes
for him. He was just
for him.
happy to be there, and we were happy to have him in there.
Okay, and can we just say, I still hope they find that horrible human. Try not to swear, because it is an SMG podcast. That horrible human.
Yes. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to blame that guy because that guy is probably like
mentally ill. Yeah.
And this is America, and we don't have mental health care. We barely have health care.
But to be fair, New York, that is kind of a thing. People do.
All right, as a healthcare provider, I have to agree with that, Charlie.
Yeah. Maybe the attack.
One of my favorite musicians got just pummeled dang near to death, like back in like the mid 2000s. So like it is a thing that just happens in New York.
Well, I mean,
anywhere really.
So it can, but look, as a guy who's had a person randomly walk up to him and punch him, I'm going to say that usually it's because that person was severely mentally ill.
Okay?
Oh, Steve.
He was jealous of the stash.
You know,
I didn't even have the stash at the time. No, it was just one of my neighbors, and he was severely mentally ill, and he had built in his mind a story, and he punched me, and I can take a punch because I'm like 500 pounds, so it's mostly annoying when people punch me, but the fact of the matter is I understand that guy had trouble.
Charlie's all puny god.
Look, it's not like it doesn't come with its own costs. Being this
well,
bad,
my wife, she works for the mental health in the UK, so I'm just homework for her. You know what I mean?
So
you're a case study she took home. I like it.
Yeah,
I was at
she just kept me.
I was at the bank with a soon-to-be ex about 2 weeks ago, and I have to admit there was some random punching crossing my mind. So, yeah.
Well, we all want to punch people all the time.
Amen.
What differentiates us from the crazy people is we don't. The crazy people are the ones who just decide, you know what, I'm going to punch that person.
And so we're never going to see him ever again in public.
That's the thing.
Rick Moranis retired from public life
to
raise his children after his wife died.
Yeah.
And I feel like he appeared in the Mint Mobile advertisement for Ryan Reynolds, and all of a sudden he gets punched in the face. Dude, we're never going to see him again.
In fairness, he's been out twice since then. So
yeah,
he's not going to let them stop. I mean,
I'm going to say the man lives in New York City. He walks that street every day. There are crazy people who are allowed to walk free in New York City because that is the nature of the American mental health care system, which is arguably an improvement over the previous system, but, it's...
Nurse Ratchet, anyone?
Yeah.
And all this on World Mental Health Day, no less.
Oh, that's right!
For what it's worth, America is bad at mental health.
Oh, we're entertaining and informative today. Thank you.
What I'm saying is America is bad at mental health. We have a very hard time with middle settings. Because invariably...
all back to Reagan. The Reagan era, let everyone out of asylums.
Exactly. And what...
To cut the budget.
He probably can't remember that.
Of the whole
At the time,
story.
he couldn't remember it.
At the time... draconian mental asylums were a thing. And that was what people were actively protesting on the left. We have to stop these draconian mental asylums because we have people that could function in society who are being denied that.
Now we just put the mentally unhinged in the White House.
Also, Charlie, can I just say as well that the reason they kicked all the mental patients out of these places is so us ghost hunters could then go in and have a look, see if there's any ghosts in them.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing us back to the movie because I wanted to say something about Dianne Aykroyd.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, we're talking about Ghostbusters? What?
The unsung hero of the entire film.
Dan Aykroyd personally is obsessed with paranormal, which I think is super cool because I'm kind of interested too.
I listen to him all the time when he's talking about UFOs or ghosts. He just engages and they're like, let's listen to it. He's got one of those voices and he's so intelligent. And plus his background with his dad and his granddad.
Yes!
And there was a fantastic book that
I just learned that today. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Dad wrote a book called The History of Ghosts.
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon still. So
I'm going to look for it. Very cool.
Prime Day is coming up.
He didn't make a guest appearance on the X-Files at that point because I mean they knew by that point the guy was. He would have been a great guest on the X-Files at one point.
Absolutely.
I would imagine, if anything, it was probably a scheduling conflict. Because I'm sure he would have loved to have been in that, and I'm sure that they would have loved to have had him.
He would have demanded to be the cigarette-smoking man.
I don't know. He's more than happy to be a hot dog vendor, you know.
It's true.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or an extra for the lone gunman.
The lone gunman. 100%.
Oh, I would love to.
I think I've heard him actually say they were his favourite characters.
They were great characters.
Yeah.
Okay, that show got shortchanged. Oh, so bad.
That was the best thing the X-Files ever created was the lone gunman.
Dan Aykroyd did reprise his role as Ray in the film Casper.
Oh, true.
Yeah. Who are you going to call? Someone else.
Dan Aykroyd did invent the Bassomatic, too.
Yeah.
What's the Bassomatic?
No, that was
on Saturday Night Live.
Yes, but his character wasn't Dan Aykroyd. I'm trying to remember the
blended it up,
name.
and then he poured it and he drank it.
I know. The Bassomatic. It was a fantastic thing. That was. Gosh, why can't I remember the? Did he actually have a name in that? But no, the Bassomatic. Oh, please, Bassomatic is the best original SNL sketch.
Okay, I'm going to YouTube it after we're done.
Oh my gosh, how have you lived your life and not seen the Bassomatic?
I don't know, considering I'm almost the oldest person in the room.
I can remember the word, but I can't remember the sketch, you know what I mean?
Basically... Yeah.
So, as the alcoholic in the group, did you know that he is the creator of Crystal Head Vodka?
Yeah. Okay. If you didn't, then you must be pretty blind because he says it everywhere. He wears the cap, the t-shirt, everything. You can only get his autograph if you buy his bottle of vodka.
And I buy his bottle of vodka.
His bottles of vodka are written outside, must admit.
The bottle is a skull. That's all I have to say.
It's
why?
Gorgeous. Do you know why it's a skull? It's because he's fascinated with the crystal skull.
Yes.
No, that's the thing. See, to me, I've always felt Crystal Skull Vodka was a huge sellout for him.
Oh my god, I don't know, Charlie. I think I'm even harder in love with Dan Aykroyd now. Oh my god.
I mean, to me...
Vodka, the occult...
Perfect. The housewives are in.
Here's a bit of trivia for you. I'm sure that our friend Jimmy already knows this, but the Dan Aykroyd insisted the ghost interaction scene between him and his character. Where the sheet is pulled back. If you recall this one, if you know what I'm talking about, I'm trying to be euphemistic.
And his pants were unbuttoned, yes.
Yes,
I know where you're going.
Thank you, Phil.
That was something he insisted on and insisted be in the film because it happened to him.
No way.
I believe that's the story. Jamie, correct me if I'm wrong. Did it happen to him, or did he just say it happened to someone else? But I believe it actually. He said it actually happened to him.
Couldn't have been just.
Do you know?
I feel like I heard that.
I have not. Do you know? That's one that I've seen the deleted scene where it's completed, but I've not heard that reference anywhere. I'm going to Google it.
Okay, please do. I know it is. But from what I heard, he fought to have it in. He said, "This is what ghosts do." I know this. I'm an expert on the occult.
It says here.
Well, actually, it is a very common story, though.
I am totally going full on succubus for the rest of my life.
It says here that Dan Aykroyd was once called He was once pulled up by the police after drinking many litres of crystal vodka, where we alleged that he fell down in a dark tunnel where somebody pulled down his pants and performed on him. And he thinks it was a ghost.
I don't know. I'm not buying this. I find it hard to believe.
Yeah, well, first of all, the timeline doesn't work.
Okay, Crystal Skull vodka gets you messed up.
I'll tell you what, I'll buy a bottle of that if that's guarantee on the bottom.
Okay, I do have to say I love my vodka, and it is very smooth.
You better be shipping that on up here, little sister.
Okay, that's another thing. Isn't vodka only vodka is supposed to be flavorless and tasteless? It's supposed to be smooth.
No. It can be tasteless, but it can leave a nasty aftertaste. That's what most people mean by smooth. It just goes down smooth. You don't have the aftertaste. Because if you drink Scott vodka, you know what I'm talking about.
See, but that's why I drink bourbon. They fight you back.
Alaska Distillery.
Vanilla Sky.
I hate anything that doesn't, because it's alcohol. You should be afraid of it. It's a spirit. You should respect the spirits, and it should punch you once you taste it.
See, I feel like we're going right back to the whole
Kentucky,
thing.
moonshine is the word you're looking for, sir.
So it's a spirit being sold by Dan Aykroyd that was involved in spirits.
There you go.
It attracted it,
I'm so glad we brought it back to Crystal Skull, and I didn't have to suggest it, because I love that aspect of Dan Aykroyd's story, his character as an actor. Dan Aykroyd's, this is Dan Aykroyd's baby.
Oh yeah, then in him and Harold Ramis, right? This, yeah,
they did, yeah. Well, the original version of Ghostbusters, it was set in the far future with spaceships and aliens and stuff like that. And then, of course, when he gave it, it was like everyone was like, "It's going to cost a lot of money with this." You know what I mean? So then it was rewritten. I think they all went to Ivan's house, and they did this massive rewrite.
Yes,
over
right,
the course of
and
2 weeks, and got it to the way it was. And what I liked more than anything is when Ivan took it up to the studio executives with the script, and they went, "How much?" And he went, "Feels like 30 million." And they went, "Okay," you know what I mean? I think it was 30 million, but it's the way he said it feels like.
The budget for the special effects was $5 million, and they still came in almost $1 million over, just because it was such a small studio, and like everybody else was busy with Indiana Jones, and then they also Star Wars and all that stuff after it. So
I
still say $1 million over budget. That's nothing.
Oh yeah, exactly. Movie budgets are like Star Trek engineers. They expect you to pad the bill. It's
10.5.
Exactly. They're willing to accept it. It's like, it's going to take, it's like Scotty always says, you always put in an extra 3 hours, and how long it's going to take you to fix it, so they call you a miracle worker. So,
So it's like remodeling a house, just add 10%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh.
Every week.
If you're lucky, it's like, honestly, remodeling the whole house? Or
I was gonna say when I say 10%, I'm really saying 20.
Yes.
Do you know where I was just flashing up on the trivia? It says here that Michael Keaton turned down both the roles of Peter Venkman and Egon Spengler. I did not know that.
So Egon was actually there was a whole bunch of people that were thought of before. Christopher Walken, John Lithgow, Christopher Lloyd, Jeff Goldblum.
Wow.
Jeff Goldblum is Egon.
Oh my god, that's too sexy for Egon. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
That's the problem. See, he would be great for the E, but not the Gon. That's the problem.
Yeah, but the scene with Annie Potts when he comes out from under the desk.
Yes,
totally different context.
Exactly. And this goes back to the John Candy and the Rick Moranis role. It's like these would be completely different films with these different actors.
Mandela effect. I demand it. Make it so.
What it comes down to is, I would love to have seen John Candy as that physically imposing and in his own presentation, sexually imposing character. Because what makes Rick Moranis interesting is that he is this guy who sees himself as a player, but no one is seeing that. John Candy was a guy who, when he saw himself as a player, when he played a character where he said, "No, I'm a player," you were like, "Okay, yeah, I can see that." I can totally. No, you got to see him when he's doing his sexy guy act. He can sell it. Hey, there are big sexy guys out there.
There are big sexy guys out there. John Candy is not one of them.
Yeah.
I've seen him do it.
Well, not now.
John Candy was a
As a
chameleon.
90s kid, the only thing I can think of is Camp Candy. And I can't.
Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck.
Yeah.
100% Uncle Buck.
What I'm going to tell you is if you see him in Wagons East, his last film, you can actually say, okay, I can see why I can see his thing. I can see where he's going with it. Wagons East is not a good film overall, although it does have Robert Picardo in it. And
I'm thinking Charlie had plenty of Skull vodka.
No.
Oh yeah. He's coming in third on that alcoholic list, right behind Lilith and Marnell.
If John Candy was playing Lewis, though, please tell me, how is Sigourney Weaver going to dip him?
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, there is that.
It's a completely different film. But again, that's the thing about films. It's like you cast the film and then you write it.
Right. Do you know Annie Potts, who plays Janine? Have you noticed how she's dressed in Ghostbusters 1? It's very, very, boring look. You know what I mean? Yep. And they sexed her up for Ghostbusters 2.
Oh, yeah, the dress, the hair, everything is different. Yeah.
And when you buy the toys, like I have to say it, the Playmobil Ghost House, it's all featured Ghostbusters 1 toys, yet Janine, because she's in a short skirt and everything, it's from Ghostbusters 2.
Oh, that's so funny.
And my son went, isn't she from the sequel? And I went, yeah, because they're not going to put dowdy Janine in it. Oh, they're going to put sexy Janine in it.
And then, we're indoctrinating our boys, yes.
Ghostbusters, where she gets far more sexualized in her relationship with Egon.
Yeah, but also...
Because that was always the biggest problem with Ghostbusters 2, is they have her attach herself to Rick Moranis' character. It's like, no, that's Egon's woman.
Yeah. But I've heard that in Ghostbusters Afterlife, she's now married to Winston. It's like, has she got no social life? She's just working her way around the guys.
Well, it's who you know.
We use the term doorknob on this podcast.
That's right, Steve.
She's the fire hall proton pack. Is that what you're saying, Steve?
No, she's the one that actually said, this place has got a pole. Have you tried it?
Nice.
But yeah, I would have been interested to see what Michael Keaton would have did with the, instead of Bill Murray.
Yeah, he would have come in and gone, I'm a Ghostbuster.
No.
Who are you?
Don't be that guy.
Who are you?
Because
he was more comedy at that point.
Especially comedy.
Would have given us a lovable Venkman from the start.
Yeah, he'd been a much more likable character.
Yeah, first off, he wouldn't have done the scene where he's being a bad scientist. I don't think that.
So Chevy Chase and Steve Guttenberg actually turned down the role for Venkman.
Ooh.
I can see Steve Guttenberg in that role.
Oh, Steve Guttenberg would have been amazing.
Yeah.
But he had his
Police Academy.
Police Academy money by that point.
All 20 of those movies, yeah.
Have you seen him lately?
Did he have to be likable?
Yeah. He's a strange guy now.
Here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to say about everyone who says, why can't characters be unlikable? Because then you don't like them. Patsy and Adina, for as horrible as they are likable because they have a connection to other people.
Yeah, well, I mean, don't you want your protagonist to be likable? Well,
Yeah,
I mean, it's not all the time.
I never ever feel that.
I don't know. As a person who likes Artemis Fowl, the book, you absolutely can't have an unlikable protagonist. The book.
But he likes that
the film.
No, let me just answer this. Does Artemis Fowl like his father?
It's questionable.
Look, all I'm going to say is that you can't have a character that is so unlikable that they have no connection to other humans. Unless you are a sociopath, in which case then that's something that you might like.
There's at least
it's fine.
There's at least 2 or 3 people in this podcast feeling called out. Come on.
I'm just saying, a character has to have a connection to someone. Doesn't have to be everyone else. It doesn't even have to be the audience. But if the audience doesn't say, oh, that is their humanizing effect, they have someone who they do see as their connection, that makes them feel like, oh, okay, I can see how this character exists. I never feel that with Venkman.
Steve and Marnell are cold and dead inside, and I like them just fine, so...
Same for me and Lilith. I feel the same way.
I was going to say, Philip, you better speak up.
Okay, well, no, I mean, here's what I'm going to say. I like Lilith.
I wouldn't
actually feel a connection to Lilith.
I wouldn't turn my back on her, but I like her.
To be fair, I have 4 dogs, so
exactly.
And I love them very much. To be fair,
so Lilith immediately in this Lilith Hellfire story, no matter how unlikable her character might be,
I have 4 beautiful doggies.
She likes her dogs, like Hitler. She likes her dogs, and when you look at Hitler and his dogs, suddenly he's a different character. He's a person you can say, oh, well, he likes his dogs.
Lilith, you just became Lilith.
I'm gonna rescue Charlie here from the Hitler thing.
I was gonna say, Lilith, you just been called Adolf Hitler. Please respond.
Please do, Marnell. Please do.
So, if you watch this movie dubbed in French, let's see, the when they talk about Zool, I think, or no, Gozar. They talk about J. Edgar Hoover
in English.
But in English, let's see. In French, it is Stalin, and in Italian, it's Hitler, and in Spanish, it's Mao.
Oh,
wow, interesting.
Wow, the Spanish don't go to Franco. They have a hard time with their pads. That's all I'm saying. At least the U.S.
We haven't done the 2020 overdub for America,
because we can handle that. Yeah, we got a lot of bad folks here. We know.
I suppose if it come out now, it would be Jimmy Savile if it was here.
Insert random American politician here.
I do want to shout out the novelizations of the book because there's 2. There's the Ghostbusters by Larry Malign, which was released with the film, but the one I like is actually the Supernatural Spectacular by Richard Mueller. So if you guys ever have a chance to pick them up, I like movie novelizations from the 80s because they're so interesting because they do have like certain tidbits that get left out of the movie consistently.
Oh yeah. Like that novelization of that 1989 Batman, bringing it back to Keaton. Yeah, there was like a lot of stuff in there.
And whether it's canon or not is up to you, which I love. Yeah. I have a lot of headcanons that help me get through a lot of movies.
Sorry, Steve, go on.
I was going to say, what's great about the novelizations is that many times the author's just given the screenplay, the original screenplay, and that's what they write. And then, of course, the screenplay gets changed.
And gets cut. Stuff gets cut.
You get the novelization, and you'll read it, and you're like, the movie didn't end that way. What are you doing? But that's how they wrote it.
I was going to say the same thing, Steve. Often when there's a comic adaptation, whatever, of it. Adaptation. When there's a comic version of the film, that is often got scenes in it that weren't in the film because of the same reason, because they have given the script and then no one tells them. It's been changed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's crazy. Yeah. I remember reading the novelization of the John Carpenter Thing, which is a few years earlier, and that is a completely different ending. And I'm just like, when did this happen?
And that's where a lot of those theories come from and stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I read the novel of Aliens, and I was amazed that there was no swearing in the book whatsoever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
wow.
For what it's worth, the Gremlins novelization origin is apparently being explored in the new Gremlins.
The alien.
Yes, the alien origin for the Gremlins. So that's something that I know there's a new Gremlin project going on that's going to be explored. And you know why that is? Because kids my age read the Gremlins novelization made it headcanon, and now they're writing the movies.
Gen X is writing the movies now. Lord help us.
We read all
We're gonna get latchkey kid scenes in every single movie from here on out.
Yeah,
Don't forget to take out the chicken.
It's good that these people who generally do enjoy the films and the original novels are now writing, the TV series and the cartoons now, because you do see a lot of stuff that's on TV now that is so-called written from a fan point of view, and there's nothing that even looks like it was written by a fan. It's like somebody who just picked up I think that looks like Star Trek. Oh, I think that looks like Star Wars.
J.J. Abrams.
Burn. Yeah. Discovery. I'm just saying. I'm rewatching.
Oh, yes. No, I totally agree with you.
Right. I'm rewatching. I'll tell you what. I'm rewatching the Voyager, and now I'm rewatching Enterprise. And I gave Enterprise back in the day a bit of a rollick, and I was thinking, what is this? I'm totally enjoying it now, and I was thinking, why can they not go back to that kind of thing? You know what I mean? That's me. I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean,
let's go back when Klingons had one forehead, and it made sense.
Yeah,
and a sash. Don't forget the sash.
I had the sash. Yeah.
You need the sash. Where are you going to put your merit badges? If you don't have it, that's how you know that you've done all your Klingon stuff.
Back when Klingons were Klingons, and they drank like Marnell and Lilith.
That's right.
I have a question. For Jamie, do you have any of the Ghostbuster comic books? Because I've been scouring for a decent copy of those comic books because they continue the adventures.
Yes,
I'm just so interested in finding actual physical copies.
Yeah, IDW still bring them out to this day, and there's some real good, interesting stories. In fact, I mostly read them digitally. You know what I mean? Because I get them digitally. But I did go out and buy the Transformers crossover.
Yes,
because it was so good. The artwork in it was just so good. I just loved it, and so I bought those comics. And if you put them all together, they produce like one big massive poster, all the front covers put together. Beautiful comic. Cool. But they do dive in.
Crossover?
Yeah, they have a couple of them.
Yeah. Oh, there's no end. There's you've got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover. You've got the reboot crossover, which is like another dimensions. But the best thing about the comic, the best thing about the comic is they make that reboot better, right? Mm-hmm. And it also the best thing about the multiverse of Ghostbusters is they treat the films and the comic book version and the cartoons as all separate universes, which all mold into one. I think it's called the Cross Rip or something like that. And each one, there's like 4 different Vecmans all turn up looking at, like Into the Spider-Verse, like that, but Ghostbusters. How good would a Ghostbusters film be if it was like Into the Spider-Verse with all the different coming up together? You know what I mean? It'd be like fantastic. You'd be like in your element. You'd please everyone then.
There's a version of Winston Edward to bring it all around.
Sure. Hey guys,
do they ever meet Tracy the Gorilla? That's my only.
I gotta go. I'm so
it was
sorry.
great having you.
It was awesome. Thank you very much.
Please come back.
Yeah, thank you,
if
Steve.
You want me back, I'd love to come back. But
see you later, Steve.
Hey,
thanks a lot, guys.
Steve.
Throw out a plug. Throw out a plug for Aim.
Yeah, Steve, where can we find you?
You can find me on Aim for the Head podcast.
Yay!
Wherever your podcasts live, it can be found. We are a Walking Dead universe podcast, and then in our spare time, we cover movies like those. So check it out. So, thanks a lot, guys. I gotta go.
Thanks, Steve. Hey, Lilith, I think we got to get this same group together, all 9 of us, to do what we were discussing for end of the year.
Oh yeah.
Remember what movie we were talking about?
That?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Are you going to let us in? Or
no, you're just in for the ride and you're going to like it, ladies.
No, I was
I'm
right.
Here's a hint.
I got booze. I'm here for it.
I want that crystal skull. I can't afford one.
She totally has to send me one. And then
how much are
I'll
those
sign
crystal
up.
skulls?
So I actually have a couple of these, and I filled them with black sand. There's larger ones too. I really need to get a larger one, but I have a whole lot to drink before then.
Black
before
sand.
I can justify that.
Black sand.
So come on, tell us what the price range is.
I think this was $40 in Vegas.
Oh, maybe it's different.
Well, you even bought it from a retailer. You can buy them online.
In Alaska, it's way more expensive. I bought this one in Vegas, and I realized that I couldn't take liquids back on the plane, and so I proceeded to.
So she drank them all.
Drink it all.
Shut up! You did not.
Don't blame you. Don't blame you.
You go to the toiletry travel kits and you start pouring.
Again,
so Jamie, she's 10 years younger than me, but she is my role model.
Again, Dianne, why aren't these two soulmates? Why aren't these two married? I don't know.
I'm just going to be the part of the throuple that cooks.
I was going to say, drinking all the liquor.
I take it in the States, you still have shops then. You don't just chuck a brick through a window and get stuff. You know what I mean? You actually use the door.
Well, it depends.
Depends on the day of the week.
I got myself some Nikes. Yeah.
All right.
Like Harley Quinn. What? We're bad guys.
Yeah, 99% of everyone. Yeah.
All right, let's start wrapping this up. Nick, you got final thoughts on this mess?
No, I definitely had a blast hanging out with everybody. It was great fun. As I said, at the end of the day, do I want to rewatch this movie? Definitely. I'm glad that it took me 26 years to watch it again, but I'm glad I did. Thank you for the opportunity, and I sort of really appreciated that. And if I were to say give this, a score out of 10, I'd give this, an 8.5 out of 10. I reckon when it comes to it at the end of the day.
Wow, nice.
All right. What, Jamie? Are you giving this a 10?
Do you know what? I don't think. Is there a film that's a 10? Me, I would go for a solid 9 on this because it's got everything that you want in it. You don't need these kind of backstories that new films need. You just need a good, solid film that you could just get into and just get it. It's just such a good film. There's so many jokes and you can't beat it. You just really can't beat this film. And well, like the studios tried to beat it, and unfortunately they couldn't. So they've had to redo it, haven't they? But it's just great. I love Ghostbusters, and I've seen it that many times. You know what I mean? How many action figures can you make of the only 4 characters? Oh, I mean, yeah, good solid 9, me, 100%.
All right, Dianne, what do you give it?
So on Biters, we rate 0 to 5. So I'm going to say I will give it 4.6 haunted Mama Cass Elliot houses out of 5. Because that was Dan Aykroyd's inspiration. He lived in a house that was supposedly haunted by Mama Cass Elliot.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
All right, Diva, what's your score?
So I'm rating it slightly lower 4 than Dianne. Just because of the casual misogyny. But I rate it a 4.0 erotic ghost dream.
Whoa.
Out of 5.
The alcohol has reached full saturation.
Full saturation.
Yes. Oh, and hey, that Housewife podcast, if you don't name it Dianne and the Diva, come on.
Fighters.
Yeah.
And hopefully, eventually, the Real Housewives of Alaska this weekend, Marnell. Let's do it.
Unless you move to the Philippines.
What?
Yes.
We are gonna guess. Lilith is gonna be a guest when we talk about The Hate You Give.
Oh.
Yeah. You guys read the book too, or just the movie? Just so I know.
You know what? I am totally not even dialed in, Lilith. I have got to do one or the other or both.
And I listen to I listen to Biters, so I know Marnell does not read.
Yeah, what's the book? Is that like turning the closed caption on?
Not since there's been more than 3 channels Marnell has not read.
the paper with the little squigglies on it.
All right, from your diva to my diva, Lilith, what do you give this movie?
I'll give it 4 crossing streams out of 5.
Enough about your Saturday night. All right, Charlie Esser, what grade do you give it, or what rating do you give this movie?
Well, for those who don't know, when I first started doing ratings on comic books in the Marvel Roundup with Phil, we said we didn't want to do a bunch of numbers. We did thumbs down or thumbs up. Because it was just, would you recommend this to a friend? We also started doing thumb to the side because there were these ones that were in that middle. But,
neutral, yeah.
I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Look, for all the 80s nonsense of it, for all the bad science and scientific method that is observed, if you can get beyond that, it's a funny movie. It's a good movie. It definitely needed more Egon. It is a passion project for, honestly, I think it became a thing for Aykroyd and Murray to just sort of riff off each other, which is probably the worst thing that happened to it. But if you can get beyond that, if you can get beyond 80s politics, and if you can get beyond everything else, if you can climb the mountain that of pop cultural flotsam that this film is built on, it's actually an enjoyable film. And I do like Sigourney Weaver. She's amazing as the character. Rick Moranis, who my son said, he looks so familiar. I said, that's Dark Helmet. He goes, that's Dark Helmet! And there you go. There are things that tie this film together that do supersede it as an existence. And because of that expanded universe and all the things that came from it. It's like when you go back and read the first books by Stan Lee, they're like, okay, those are good comic books. But if you see the universe that sprawled out from it, you understand why Stan Lee's ideas were important, and therefore why Ghostbusters is important. And so I give it a thumbs up.
All right, so yay, thank you. What?
Don't think you're gonna skip out.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. She's so used to being a moderator.
And you see what happens to moderators in our country.
They get talked over, which is what has happened. So
I probably gotta give it a 4.5 out of 5.
How did Luca like it? Did he like it?
He liked it, but like I said, he was kind of off and on. He was on the iPad. He was watching it, and he seemed to like it.
They needed more math. If this was a more Egon-centric film, he would love it. He's like, yes, Egon, I want to see the formula.
Math,
we can contain them with a formula. What's the formula?
They had to talk. Egon? They had to talk either math, World War II, or the Cold War. He would have been all in. But I mean, you know what he's obsessed with now? Friends. We've been watching Friends on HBO Max. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's always on.
Because Ross is a paleontologist.
Maybe.
And it has its nerd credit.
Well, no, it's more like, oh, look, Joey put all of Chandler's clothes on.
But Chandler is a data analyst in his day job. So
okay, so here is the real metric. So Ghostbusters Afterlife, will you risk pandemic to go see it in the theater?
Oh, they're doing that video on demand.
Yeah, straight away. I went to see Empire Strikes Back. No problem. No problem.
What about 1984?
Yeah, just loved it. And I even took my 11-year-old at the time, and he was great. We just sat there and were like, it was great. No one was on their phones. No one sitting next to me. It's great. Love it. But I'll tell you now, a lot of people say, oh no, Afterlife is going to come out at the cinema. I don't think it will be. I think as time, it's just rolling on. They're going to bring it out on video on demand. Same thing they did with Bill and Ted, cinema as well as video on demand. Because Disney have proved that crappy Mulan was a moneymaker, right? And now they're bringing Soul onto Disney Plus as well, and that's a major big film. So, is it HBO Max? They've got the Snyder Cut. All these films will be going to streaming services. 100%.
Honestly, the 100%. Only thing that I miss in the pandemic is movies on the big screen. I mean, I
Get
really
yourself
don't like
a projector and a nice white sheet.
I was going to say the same thing.
That's all going to come back. It may not be AMC, but here's the thing. AMC built a movie theater. Someone's going to buy that movie theater for cheap and put movies in it. That's literally how grindhouses started. That's literally the 1970s. I mean, that is what history has. Because eventually someone's going to say, hey, we got this building. It's built. It's a huge building at a great parking lot. I'll give it to you for cheap. It's designed to be a theater. Do you want to show movies in it? And people go, yeah, sure, why not?
Bring back drive-ins.
Rick Moranis, my very first time watching Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was in Whidbey Island at the drive-in. Yep.
Never been to a drive-in.
Juneau, Alaska actually brought back the drive-in, and we've been watching films like Princess Bride and Jaws and all that on drive-in because, amazing.
I tell you, do you know, funny enough, there's one thing that with the pandemic that's happened is the cinemas have opened up with old films from the 80s, and they have made a ton of money. Now, and they've gone back into the charts, the film charts, these old films. So it just shows you that people want to see them. People want to see them. I one of my dreams is to build, to own a cinema, one of these little cinemas, and I'd run it just like that old cinema in The Last Action Hero. You know what I mean? For the little tickets.
Jamie, now's your chance.
Yeah.
I will. I've got £10.
Honestly, you may be able to do it.
I'll have change as well.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. This is a fun thing about real estate. If you have a tangible asset, it's very easy to get a loan. So if you want a loan to get a tangible asset, because the tangible asset is a thing that they can repossess if you never make the payment, you can get that tangible asset. So buying a theater, it's very easy if it's an abandoned theater. You just have to get the loan to buy the theater and make sure that you're not being overcharged to the theater.
Here's one for you guys. Just a bit of trivia with myself is that the old Odeon Cinema in Leicester, where I was brought up, I originally saw Star Wars there and Ghostbusters and all the 80s films. Then it got closed down and it was derelict for a bit, and then it got renovated. And I now live like 100 miles away from Leicester now, up north in the UK. And my son still lives in Leicester, and now he's got a job working in the old Odeon Cinema. He's the lighting engineer because it's now a club, and he wants to bring back films into it. So how's that for weirdness? One of my favourite places, and he's working there now.
It's all super connected.
Yeah, it's all connected.
Wait a minute.
Here, guys. Ask Luca if you like Ghostbusters. Hold on.
How'd you like Ghostbusters, Luca?
Good.
Say, I want a proton pack and I want an outfit to go trick or treating in.
You weren't bothered by the poor scientific method portrayed by Peter Venkman. Okay, he's.
Hey.
I was hoping to get someone who's going to like. Honestly, yes, the man.
Do you know? I'm also surprised no one's brought up that Ron Jeremy was in Ghostbusters as well,
and Debbie Gibson.
Yeah.
Well, Ron Jeremy's in everything.
I think we're alone now.
And that guy that goes, Ghostbusters, all right. He's made a mince. Yeah.
All right. So before we get to all the plugs, I just wanted to thank everyone for being here. And like I was saying, Lilith and I were talking about doing another movie review like this at the end of the year. So everyone's invited if you want to come back and talk Austin Powers.
This is incredibly fun. Yes.
We like a bit of Austin Powers. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Baby. Big boys.
That looks like a giant.
See, what's fascinating about Big Boy is that it's actually several different restaurants that are all franchised out to different companies. See, where I grew up, it was Elias Brothers.
Yeah, and other places it's like Frisch's.
Yeah, exactly. So it's an interesting thing, but
look how big it is.
And there's an urban legend that there actually was a real Big Boy who was a guy who, was kind of the.
I always thought that was a real thing. I thought it was a real thing, Big Boy.
No, it is a real thing.
Is it?
Alaska doesn't have Big Boy.
Okay,
Too
so
many
Big
places
Boy
have Big Boys
restaurants.
anymore.
That's why
Big Boy
Marnell drinks.
Restaurants was one of the first franchisee restaurants.
Oh, is it Big Boy?
Yeah. And Big Boy was their logo.
And Ron Jeremy went, yes.
So this is...
Whoa.
Yeah, anyway.
Pretty damn
But
big.
yeah, but what happened is several different companies own... So it's sort of like Sibra, if you know who Sibra is. They're one of the biggest Arby's franchisers. It's like if they put Sibra Arby's out there, and so you would know that you were going to Sibra Arby's, but actually all of them are called Arby's. And so there's a bunch of Big Boys, but some are called Elias Brothers, some are called Freshers, some are just called Big Boys.
That's right.
But the Big Boy is the uniting character.
I just want to bring it back to Ghostbusters a second, right? Is that if anybody's really interested in like the ultimate making of Ghostbusters, I interviewed the writer, the director, and the producer, Anthony and Claire Bueno, who've done a fantastic documentary called "Cleaning Up the Town," which is out on Blu-ray. It's fantastic. It's got all what you want to know about the secrets and how they made it, because they've got photos. And I had such a pleasure interviewing them. So yeah, absolutely. There's one for you.
Well, that's a good segue. So where can people find Ghost Heads UK, Radio Free Endor, all that?
Oh, well, it's on the Southgate Media Network. Go to your regular good and evil podcast people. You can find it. It's on iTunes. You can reach me at ghostheadsuk@gmail.com. I'm on Twitter myself. You could just put Ghostheads UK. You'll find it all on there. I'm on Facebook. Definitely on iTunes is your best place. Or go to Facebook and I'll have a link for my show when it's on. Yeah.
Because there's so much good stuff on the Southgate Media Group.
I'm available for anybody else's podcast as long as I don't edit it.
Spoken like a true podcaster.
I get so much right.
All right, Nick, tell us where we can find all of your many shows.
Okay, for all you country music lovers out there, if you're fans of country music, I do host the aforementioned Whiskey and Cigarettes show, which is an FM and net radio show where we play today's country, traditional country, and everything else in between. For more information about that and where to tune in, you can visit our website. That's whiskeyandcigarettesshow.com. Podcast-wise, we're very proud to have 2 podcasts on the Southgate Media Network. We do, of course, Happiness and Darkness, the superhero movie podcast, where we discuss all superhero movies from Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Image, and more. If any of you guys want to join us to discuss a movie of your choice, you can hit us up at happinessanddarknesshow@gmail.com. Also, we also host, I host together with Zan Sprouse and Rachel Friend, Gold Standard, the Oscars movie podcast. We're reviewing all the movies that won the Oscar for Best Picture from 1927's Wings to the present day. If you would like to discuss an Oscar winner of your choice, you can hit us up at goldstandardoscars@gmail.com. Of course, both these podcasts can be found where you get your podcast, of course. And finally, also Titan Talk, the Titans podcast that I've recently joined with Charles Skaggs and Jesse Jackson. We recently wrapped up Doom Patrol Season 2 and had a great time there discussing that. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's all. Yeah.
Do you know what? Nick can reel that off so well. I'm like, you just find me on the internet. And Nick, hands off to you. You reel it off. So you better be reading that.
Well, like you said, as I said, it comes with you learn it. Being a radio DJ, you learn this stuff.
I should have it down since I've been doing it for 5 years.
All right, Diane, where can people find Biters and you and your drunken troublemaker of a sister?
Honestly, we're more active on Facebook than anything. We theoretically have a Twitter. Yeah, we theoretically have a Twitter. So you can find Biters on Facebook. Shoot us a message. We'd love to chat with you if you ever want to talk Walking Dead. Hit us up.
Walking Dead. Do you know, I need to catch up on The Walking Dead. I haven't seen the last 2 seasons.
Whoa.
I know.
Lots of catching up.
Read the comics.
I will not spoil you the way I spoiled Marnell on the season 10, 16.
Oh, for the finale, yeah.
Yeah.
The comics, I've read all the comics.
Me too.
But to be fair, with the Walking Dead TV series, when they got rid of Carl, and then and I was like, nah.
Carl?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody
They killed Carl? The kid?
Coral, yeah.
Anybody other than me a Sandman fan?
Yes.
I've
The
just downloaded the
audiobook
book.
is amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
The audiobook.
Freaking tastic.
It is brilliant stuff. Yep.
Oh, yeah, next
working on my third Sandman tattoo. So.
Wow. Looking forward to the Netflix show, I think. I believe it's coming to Netflix.
I think. Oh, yeah, next week.
Yes, Netflix.
Next week, Lilith and Charlie remind me we're at the Talk the Invincible animated series coming. Another Kirkman production. Yeah. All right, so everyone here probably already knows this. You can always get a hold of us to let us know what you thought of this episode. I don't even know what I thought of this episode. Email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I can find a link to the YouTube channel, so go subscribe so you can watch this mess. Links to the Patreon, where we're talking all things Star Trek. Links to merch. Everything all in one convenient place. That's Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics. And remember to support our sponsors, Tweaked Audio. Get yourself some good headphones. Hunt a Killer.
Michelle Gray needs your help, guys.
She does.
That's right. Use the code Southgate for a discount on both of those. Go pick up Pod Life the book, now in digital and paperback. And, of course, you're going to get that on Amazon. So when you go on Amazon to buy that and more, use the link for Southgate Media Group right down there in the show notes. Help us support this show, the network, and, of course, that supernatural figure, Rob Master Doom Southgate.
Make it rain, so says Master Doom. Why did your eye drift over to my box?
All right, Lilith Hellfire, where can the kiddies find you?
Theoretically, I too have a Twitter. Like I said, I'm trying to find something to live tweet. So if you want to find out what I decided to live tweet, @Lilith Hellfire on Twitter. But if you're on Instagram with the cool kids and your hip grandparents, you can find me on Twitter, on Instagram @Lilith Hellfire86 or @Lilith Hellfire69 because, you know, I'm a child.
That's true.
I'm 12 when you need me to be 12.
Gimme.
Charlie Esser.
Wow. Let me just start off that when we do the Capes and Lunatics sign off, everyone here, I want you all to say ampersand when the time comes. But, moving right along, if you'd like to write to me in that old-fashioned email way, the way they did back in 1984, because, you know, Egon, he was on that thing that existed before the internet that had email. That is at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on the Twitter is I live tweet 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sundays. HBO's amazing Lovecraft Country, which has about like 2 or 3 episodes left. But I'm going to be live.
It's brilliant.
I'll be there. I'll be there on Sundays, kids. So
awake.
come join me and listen to what a fat, middle-aged white man has to say about Lovecraft Country.
Because there's none of them on the internet.
It'll blow your mind.
We're everywhere.
At Charlie Esser, that's CHARLIESSER. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality.
Bing.
Thank you, Maz.
And happy birthday, Maz.
Yes, happy birthday. Today's Maz's birthday. Yes.
A cake full of wishes to my skinny rich friend. Oh, I love this.
Our George Costanza. All right. For another week, whether you wanted it or not, we have been your Capes.
Ampersand.
Where's my lunatic?
Lunatics, baby.
Oh, we should add Lil.
Finally, it's not singular.
I was going to say, we should add Lilith and Marnell say Lunatics. But yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, we got to get that Austin Powers going. Maybe last episode of the year.
That's fine.
Boss.
Lilith, I've got a statue of you here. Look at that.
Was that Buddha Slimer? It was...
Yeah. I've seen a nice desk lamp of Slimer that I want on Etsy.
Oh my god, I found a dumpster fire Christmas tree ornament on Etsy.
I found
2020.
Yep, coronavirus ornament